I'm Neerav Patel, CEO of Bristlecone, and I'm thrilled to be back this time bringing you all a new episode of our Bristlecone CEO series. For all of our new viewers, the Bristlecone CEO series is all about bringing a spotlight on inspirational leaders of today's time. I am thrilled today to have with us Frédéric Bertrand. Frédéric is the CEO and team principal of Mahindra Racing. He joined the Indian race team in November 2022, ahead of the ninth ABB FIA Formula E World Championship season. Frédéric, known as Fred with the team, is highly respected within the industry and previously spent a decade working for the FIA, most recently as director of Formula E and innovative sports projects. Currently, he's leading Mahindra Racing into a new era for the team as they look to return to the top step of the podium where they belong. Fred was born in France and now lives around the world, including Switzerland and the UK. So, Fred, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey with racing.
Good afternoon, Nirav. Thanks for hosting me. I think you said more or less everything already, but not so much to add, to be honest. Quite a nice summary of how it has been and what is going on right now. But I think in general, what is very interesting is all the passion and having that chance to work in an environment which is from the beginning my passion. So I would say I have no excuse to work hard and push hard because I just love it.
Fantastic, fantastic. Wow, what a spectacular ride you've been on your tenured career. As you reflect back, Fred, what would you consider to be the highlight of your career that you're most proud of?
Probably the coming titles with Mahindra Racing. But let's say that up to now, I'm particularly proud of one thing is that I never gave up. When I was a kid, I grew up in a place in France called Ardèche. It's really lost in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of France, or in the southeast of France. And I had those rally cars coming down the road once a year. It was Rally Monte Carlo coming every year. And from there started that passion of motorsport, of wanting to be involved in that sport and then meeting so many guys, so many people there. And I think the thing I'm probably the most proud right now is that I always believe it could happen. I could manage to get into this world. I had no connection. I knew no one. I never gave up. I just wanted this as a goal. I just never accepted the no's and always tried to get a yes. And finally, I got some yes, and then I finally work in this world. So more than any particular achievement, it's not to have given up at any time and to have believed that this would be possible and that dream can come true. And in that case, I'm living in a kind of a dream. Sometimes difficult days, sometimes close to nightmares, but still in a dream globally.
How inspiring, Fred. I mean, never giving up seems like the mantra that really has embodied your colorful career all through your life as well. I think it's interesting to see that how that is even more relevant in the times that we live in this time around, particularly in the post-COVID world and with all of the macro things that go around, and that never giving up is a very, very truly said statement in various contexts for many people to know. You recently joined the Mahindra family. We are so happy to that you are here with us. What were some of the decision drivers for you in joining Mahindra Racing as the CEO and team principal?
I think there were many things which were attractive for me joining Mahindra Racing, but as we just said before, never giving up is one part of the way I grew up and the way I really access to this career or let's say type of job. But the second thing is the step-by-step system. Sometimes you need to be patient. Sometimes you need to wait for the right moment and not to be too impatient. I am necessarily impatient, I would say, but I have been patient enough all along my career to build the things step by step. So let's say I'm impatient on getting the results, but I can agree that we need to build things properly to make sure that the results are based on strong basement and not on sand. I always say that. And that is what has particularly attracted me in the Mahindra Racing project, because it's a very strong company, a very strong name within the automotive industry and the industry in general. Maybe not as strong outside of India that it is in India, but still very strong name. But the racing activity is still something we can structure much better. We can structure in a more powerful way. And there was that trust inside the company. There are so good values, so strong values in the company that you felt that you will have time to build the project, to explain people what you want to do. And then people will give you that power. And then you get from the management side the challenges on one side, the pressure you need to keep pushing, but on the other side, the understanding and the fact that not everyone will expect that you do things from one day to another. People understand you need time. And I think that was the exciting part, is make something big, but having the time to do that big thing with a step-by-step process, with a strong confidence, strong trust, strong empowerment from everyone in the company, from Anand Mahindra himself to Anish, to Rajesh now, to Velu, to Asha at that time. So many people around the project showing you, okay, this might happen. Just make it happen. And that's really what attracted me, is I feel that there is all the ingredients ready to make it happen.
Fascinating. It's this conversation about, Fred, that you have a dream and you have a passion. You visualized the art of possible that sometimes is hard to be fathomed with early on. How easy or difficult do you think is for somebody like yourself to be on the CEO seat to provide that vision of what is that art of possible looking like? I mean, is it more harder inside with your team down on the racing? Is it more harder with your fan base? I mean, how does that really happen? I'm just curious to know from your learning about, when you have a passion, when you have a dream, that you have something that is never been done before you want to achieve. How do you really create a level of momentum that drives towards your passion and your vision?
That's a very interesting question, because typically this is the frustrating part sometimes, is that after the races, everything was prepared, everything was so close to being very good and as you wanted, as planned. And unfortunately, something wrong happens. You have a small crash, you have a small issue with the car, one session of the preparation of the weekend doesn't go exactly as you wanted, and then from there creates the full trouble, and you don't end up with the result you wanted. And in our sport, if you are not ending in the top 10, it means no points. No points mean that you came for nothing. It's never for nothing, because you learn. But for sure, you have that feeling that you came, and if you end up 11th, 12th, means that 2 more positions, you were in the point and you were coming back with something, you come with nothing. And that's the difficult part, because you come back and you have to keep everyone motivated, convinced that it is not something we need to accept. We need to be disappointed, but we must not be demotivated. So you need to manage disappointment to a point where people create additional motivation, but never to the point that it becomes demotivation. This is true for the people in the team, because you need to keep people under that pressure and make them feel that we can do it. They know how much we can do, but they also know how much we missed it from nothing or from a lot sometimes. But then you also need to keep the management motivated and supporting, because people are also expecting things to happen. You always dream of seeing the result coming very quickly, and it's something which you are not the only actor, because you have against us 10 other teams trying to do the same than us. And so that is probably the main thing, is keep people disappointing enough when the results are not good, so that we still have that energy coming out, and then we say, okay, next time we will make it happen, and this will be our turn. But on the other side, never go to demotivation where people say, okay, we will never manage, and then start to give up. So it's that combination between the two. For sure, when everything happens and all is good, it's much easier. A small good result can bring the team very up. So you can have very strong high, but you can also have very strong lows. And it's more easy to have a lot of lows than a lot of highs. So it's that balance you need to manage. So success is calling success, 100% sure. So we need to make sure that we start. We give people the confidence again that we can make it. And once we start to make it, then for sure, there is no more question. We can do it and we will do it. So that's all that small limit we need to find. Today, we have too many moment where we fail or we are not at the level we would like. So keeping motivation is very important, but still I don't want anyone to come back to the factory, to come back to home when they come back from a race, being happy because we were 12. Of course, it's much better than being P22, but 12 is not what we want. So, but on the other side, you want people to come back and say, okay, 12 is not that far from 10, 8, 6. And then when you are 6, you still need to push up to the podium. So that is this specific motivation system, dynamic system you need to create, which is quite difficult in some ways, but super exciting on how to manage people, how to manage expectation from your team to the people managing you, to the people supporting you like sponsors, but also from the fan side also. It's very strong for us when we feel that the fans understand that they are supporting us and they are pushing us for more performance and they understand what happened, so that the next time we want to make anyone happy and no one disappointed.
Well, I think it's
long answer, but it's
look, I could see the clear perspective. I mean, the clarity of perspective of saying be disappointed enough not to be demotivated. I mean, that's seems like the right mantra from your perspective. And like you rightfully said, in a business that you're in where a fraction of a second makes the difference between being in the top 3 versus the 12th. And sometimes fans have the full appreciation, but the fact that they're always there to support their team and create that excitement is fascinating. And I think, this is this dilemma of trying to really think about what the world sees out is slightly different than how you operate it inside when you have a team that gets probably knocked down many a times before they see themselves on the step. I mean, so, preparing the organizations for those falls is very important, that converting that disappointments into something more motivating enough for them to really perform better is fantastic. So thank you for that answer. I mean, I'm sure our fans and viewers are going to actually have a perspective on this.
Just one compliment is, I had a boss in my previous job. He was very well known in motorsport, but in the management side, was Jean-Todt, and he was always on this idea that when you were coming to his office and explaining that things were impossible, you were just looking at you and saying, I think, Fred, you have a too narrow conception of what is possible. And from there, you start to take away that word of impossible. It's challenging, it's tough, it will be additional effort. You need to push the boundaries. You need to keep people with you, because without the group and without the team, alone in motorsport, you cannot do anything. You can be the best driver in the car. If you don't have the support of all the team behind you, if you don't have the car ready, well prepared, you are nothing. You can do a miracle sometime, but it will not make you a champion of the world championship. So you need that system. And then that's really one thing I'm also expecting a lot from the team right now, is to start to think that possible is just a matter of concept. We can make everything possible. We need to accept to push the boundaries, to get out of our comfort zone and make sure that, because maybe we will learn, maybe we can accept that we can be challenged, then we get additional performance. Otherwise, we would sit too much in our nice office and then start to think we do our maximum. Maximum in that case, if it's the case, means we are really definitely not at the right level of what maximum should mean. And that's where we are right now. We are in a team where the maximum is far in front of us. We have still a lot of margin. Everyone is pushing a lot to achieve the result, but the maximum we can achieve is far, far, far away from where we are right now. And that's the exciting part, is the potential is huge.
Fantastic, fantastic. At Bristlecone's message is thrive on change. And with racing, you're constantly embracing change every race, as I'm sure you all are tweaking parameters until the go time, right? Can you tell us how you and the team embrace change at Mahindra Racing? Give our viewers a little perspective on what change means internally as you think about Mahindra Racing.
I think change means a lot, but it means I would say I would use it on two sides. Technically, to be open to solutions which can be a little bit disruptive. If we take the example of what we live this season, we have a new car, and most of the thing our engineers knew about the previous one is not necessarily true with the new one. So if you only stick to what you knew and you are not structured in the way you approach the changes you can do on the new one, you end up being lost. So it's not only a matter of managing people to accept that the change is possible and can bring good things, is also on the way to structure the way we change things and make sure that we know when we do a change, what will be the impact? Is it positive? Is it negative? If it's positive, then we capitalize on it and we go one step beyond. If it is negative, we know how to come back and start again and change again and have another way of approaching the topic. So I would say that's one part of the big thing we are doing right now, is managing people to get in their mind the fact that changing is something which probably is a must, but it has to be done with a process which helps us to understand what we do and not only improvise. So there is a big difference for me between improvisation and managing change. And right now we are trying to manage change in a way which is not improvised at all. The second thing is in the mindset. I explained a lot on all this approach on not giving up, go step by step, but still pursue that goal, which is we want to win. This is something I'm the most surprised, or what that was the biggest surprise for me when I arrived into the team, is that I ended up in a team which was composed of so many performant guys. We have boys and girls coming from all around the world participating to the team. So you have expertise, culture, knowledge accumulated in this team at a very good level. The thing is that slowly people lost the idea that we could win. They came into the idea that we were only participating. That doesn't mean that they were not pushing in the way of trying to win, but that little change in their head was done, that it was maybe not in part of our possibilities. And this is also what I need to change, and what we are working on changing is changing the mindset of people so that people agree, believe, are conscious that we can make it happen. And we have that in ourselves already. We don't need to get 20 new engineers, 30 new very strong people coming in. No. The people are there. The system is there. We just need to change again into a concept and in a way of thinking which allows us to perform at a much higher level and not be limited by ourselves. So that's the second part in the change. On one way, structure the change and limit improvisation. The second is not limit ourselves and be sure that we can find solution inside already. For sure, additional support and additional strength are always welcome, but it's not necessarily the first thing we need to do. First, let's capitalize on the people and the strength we already have in the team, organize them in maybe a different way, put the right people at the right place, and not only necessarily where they want it to be. Maybe in some cases they are more useful for the company in another position, but that same person is just moving inside and get more outcome from that. So these are the two things I would say around the change management right now.
Fantastic, because I think this notion of change mindset sometimes is more important than the change itself, and I think as long as your leadership stays geared towards having that change mindset, that's the only thing that's going to make anybody better. today or tomorrow than what they were yesterday. You think about that idea, that mindset becomes very, very central. You know, turning slightly different to a completely different topic, Mahindra Racing is one of the most sustainable teams in racing. Um, why is sustainable motorsports so important in your opinion, and what impact does it have on the wider automotive industry? How will you continue to push sustainability within the team as you progress over future seasons?
This has evolved a lot since the last 5, 6 years, I would say, maybe even. Formula E started 10 years ago. When it started, it was very disruptive championship. There were no other championship with that DNA of making the things in the most responsible way and in the most sustainable way, but also to demonstrate that a different type of automotive industry is possible and maybe more relevant for the future than the one we already knew. This for me was the first thing which was important, is here to change the minds 100%. People knew what was possible with ICE, so all the internal combustion engine. Everybody was convinced that electric car would mean boring, not attractive, and something you don't necessarily want to have. The change was so massive the moment you could demonstrate that those cars can be sexy, fancy, fast, and you can compete with them at the same level you could do with any other ICE cars. This was followed nearly at the same time by a big change within the industry for different parameters and different reasons. And for me, one of the main game changer is the moment that electric cars in any brand, and then we can even take the case in particular of Mahindra, those cars get the best design, become the most attractive one you can find and you can buy within the brand. That is another game changer, because people move from, oh, why would I buy an electric car? It's boring. And then slowly those cars become the most attractive you can find on the market. In parallel, what was really strong for Formula E was to showcase and develop technologies which were able to show how quick electric or EVs in general can improve. First, it was in terms of autonomy. We couldn't do more than 20 minutes race with one car. We needed to have two cars to do a full race of 40 minutes. So we were changing the driver from one car to another during the race. The generation number 2, which means after 4 years, was able to double the autonomy level, means that we could do a race of 45 minutes at a speed which was much higher, with level of performance which were drastically improved. But that was the second step. And this was showcasing what was also happening in the industry. You were not able to find cars able to have more than 250 kilometer autonomy. Now you end up with cars with 600, maybe even 700 soon kilometer of autonomy. So it's also a game changer, which is taking away from the people the idea that if I have an electric car, I cannot go as far as I want, or I have too many constraints. The last part is what Formula E is trying to do now, is to show that you can charge faster. You don't need to wait hours for charging your car. You have fast charging system integrated into the car. You have a car which is also lighter, which means that the car itself is recharging while running. Means that you can have a much lighter battery. The car is not necessarily does not necessarily need to be a SUV, but or a very massive car. You can start to have much better design. So all the technology center and the showcase is there. So that was for me the key part of doing a championship like Formula E. And when you were asking before, the reason why to choose Mahindra since day one, and there was the understanding of this move, of this wind of change, and that was from day one integrated within the company. It will take shape with the new cars coming on the market in 24, 25, but the vision of being in the championship pushed by Anand was definitely there. This will be the future. We have to be part of it. So that was one of the reasons, because Mahindra Racing is there since the beginning. Now we just need to make sure that Mahindra Racing is performing to go with the cars which will be sold on the market. So that's the last part of the attractiveness of such a sustainable championship, is that you can directly link what you learn on track to what will come into the cars of the future that you, me, and everybody else can buy. You are so much influenced by all the developments which have been done on track, which have been tested, which have been proven as reliable, as performant. This comes into the everybody car very soon or already there, and that's the other thing, because this has driven the change. We were speaking about driving the change. This is typically what the championship has done, and having had this idea of putting the DNA of the championship on sustainability and showcasing technology. Motorsport always showcase technology, but to showcase the sustainability is for sure the first one, and it's a massive success for Formula E in general. And I think it has also to be a success for the people who have understood that from day one, like Mahindra.
Yeah, well, I think it's fascinating just to hear your perspective and how you're thinking and talking about, I call the technological advancements in overlaying that with sustainability and what that means for the world and the planet. The purpose and planet are very, very fundamental in the way we think about it. And it's just exciting to hear that this one really takes the fans through a completely different lens. And in many ways, the future generations and the future fan base really wants this to be the way any kind of sporting event that will need to be run. Our team had the privilege of watching you all in action during the Portland event in June. And one of the key observations was that everyone on your team works as one and understands the vision and mission ahead. Here at Bristlecone, we have adopted that same one Bristlecone strategy. Sounds like you kind of done something very, very similar at Mahindra Racing. I'm sort of cannot wait to see what the future unfolds for it. You're approaching the end of your racing season, Fred. As your eyes are set on Gen 4, what expectations do you have for the team?
To be honest, this season is a long one for us. It's a short in time, but it's a quite long one in terms of pressure and how many things we discover at the same time. And to my personal case and to the team we try to create with the people in Banbury, it's tough because there is so much going on at the same time. Developing the car on one side, trying to be performant, preparing the future. It's quite massive, but this is an exciting season because it's the first one with this new car, and we can just evaluate how much potential we still have to perform better. So in a way, we are happy that it ends, but we would like that it still has 20 races so that we can still push and develop. But the next season is coming soon. So now for us, there are two main goals. The first one is on top of closing the season as good as possible. We were, and I think it was good to have some of your guys with us in Portland for sure. And they have witnessed, let's say, what we like and what we don't like. On one side, not strong enough in qualifying. We need more speed. But on the other side, a race where all the strategy and all the teamwork is able to support the driver to be even better during the race and come up from a P13 close to a position which is much better with a P7, P6, P7. So that's exactly what we like, and what we try to do right now is to build a team which is able to deliver a good result during the races. We need to improve on quali so that we are faster, so that we are able to start upper in the grid, and then for sure have more chances to reach the top positions. End of season like this would be great. If we can do another point scoring races, that would be really good. But now the focus is definitely, I would say, nearly since quite a while, on the next season. What can we do to improve from now to the beginning of next season, which will be early January, but means that we have 6 months in front of us to structure the team, do exactly what I explained you before, how to move the people in the right position in the organization, how to make and to shape the organization in a more efficient way. lighter in some ways, a bit additional expertise on some aspects, a bit more workforces. Find the right partners around us to think on how to improve, how to get the maximum understanding of the car, and be ready for season 10, which will start in January, in a much better way, with a team which is even stronger than what we have demonstrated this season. In parallel of that, we are already preparing what we call season 11. So the current season is what we call season 9. So it's a season which will end mid-24. The next one will be mid-23. Then the next season will be on 24, and then we will have 25 and 26. Right now, we are concentrated already on how to develop the best possible car for 25 and 26. This is the moment where we want the team to be able to consistently be in the points and consistently be closer to the podium. Even on the podium, to be totally transparent, we would love to be more regularly on podiums and score bigger points. That's the goal. To do that, it means in some cases changing the hardware of the car, to change the concept, to find new ideas, new partners, new technical approaches. Again, back to change. How can we find something doing the job in a better way than what we currently do? But also around that, organize the team in the best possible way so that the moment we have to press the deliver button, everything is delivered in the cleanest and the most efficient way. The championship is something where half a second, or I would say 2-3 tenths, as you exactly said at the beginning, can put you from the top positions down and back to the rear of the grid. And these small differences, everybody is chasing to reduce them. So we are right now 11 teams in the championship, all fighting for the same thing, the few tenths which are the difference between the top and the rear. So let's be better than anyone else, and let's make sure that when the other find 2, we find 4, so that we have a chance to, one side, compensate the gap we currently have, and on top of that, take advantage so that we can play a little bit more in the front than at the rear as we currently do. We play in the middle right now, which is not that bad. But again, that's sufficiently bad so that I am not happy, and then we push out. But I'm not demotivated. This you can also be sure.
Well said, very, very well said. I'll come to my final question, and sort of a final question I have for you. Any parting message from you for all the motorsport fans out there? I mean, anything that you want to say to all the big motorsport fans?
I think to all the motorsport fans, I would say give a chance and look to Formula E in general, because the level of the show is just amazing. Of course, it's disruptive and different, but we are preparing the future. So all the people thinking, the sound is not as nice as a nice ICE engine. This is not the reference our kids will have. And we are preparing the future with our kids and maybe already our grandkids. So let's not think for us, and let's not be too selfish. Think about the future generation and what we will propose them. And that particularity might not be something they miss so much. That's the most global way. But for the one following Formula E already, or for the one I'm happy to have that mindset of open to any new things as long as the show is there, look at Mahindra, because it's not known enough. But we are at that moment where the team is in a big change. I would say the company in general is in a big change, also in a big move. And I think we can really become one of the big name of that championship for the coming years. It will be something where nothing will come in 2 minutes, but we are working hard on structuring this properly. And to the Indian fans, because we have a lot of people following us in India, for sure, I would like to say that we work hard on making all Indian fans very proud of what an Indian team, and the only full Indian team, will be able to deliver in that championship, and maybe some others also in the future. But we are the founding team of this championship, and we cannot remain so long without strong titles and strong victories. So that's the goal we all have, to make everyone proud. And the first one who would be very proud is you and me, because we are in this project 100% involved.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Fred, for your sharing your thoughts with us today. I mean, it's quite an exciting journey that you're on, and what an inspiration. And I personally going to say thank you for your friendship. I mean, we together have enjoyed working together, and we are very excited to continue following you and the Mahindra Racing team. Wishing you all the very best as you drive the team to perfection. Be disappointed, but not be demotivated is the mantra to carry in that journey. We will be cheering you all the time from the sidelines. And, thank you again for being with us today on the CEO series. And you have a great day.
Thanks for hosting me. Thanks for the support, and we are stronger together.
Thank you.